Hello, and welcome to another episode of the B-Side. Thanks for tuning in. I am one of your co-hosts, DJ Mark Harris, along with my longtime friend / partner in crime, ChatterBox Christie. Say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
Again, want to thank you guys for tuning in. Another episode of the B-Side. Let's not forget super producer, the adolescent one, Chris.
What's happening, people? Glad to be here.
Appreciate you showing up again.
We're glad you're here, too.
We're glad you're here.
We talk a lot of smack about super producer Chris, but we couldn't do this without him.
No, because neither one of us is Stretch Armstrong. And
right?
He couldn't do this and reach around and run the show.
Well, I was trying to say that, he brings, value and content to our little ensemble, but sure, the Stretch Armstrong thing works too.
I appreciate that, Chris.
He's probably so young he doesn't know what Stretch Armstrong is.
I'm familiar with him. What
right.
in Incredibles?
Oh my!
Is that the same guy?
Kind of a
no
copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
look it up. That's why we have the Google.
This is true.
Go to your Google machine like everybody else does, and you'll find it.
Damn Google.
Anyway, we're going to start today's show off with the topic that we discussed off camera, off radio, off whatever.
Like we do.
Kind of, I guess we would start off with superstitions or dumb rules that make adulting difficult.
Or just life. I mean, honestly, you don't even have to be an adult, but because you learn it in your youth, it kind of makes, the growing up process a little strange. And then you become an adult and you're still following these dumb rules that don't exist, or following these superstitions. Like how we got on it, where we were talking about things that people around us do, or if we do something, they go, you can't do that.
For
it's
example.
Like, why?
For example, there's some superstition, rule, whatever, that says you shouldn't put your hat on the bed. And what I'm trying to understand is, why in the hell can't I put my hat on the bed?
I don't know why. I've never heard when you said that, and you still didn't tell me why. Because we were saving it for this show. But why can't you put your hat on the bed?
I was just told by my
significant
future better half that it was bad luck, and I've never heard what is the ending of the bad luck. If there's a certain thing, like obviously the bed won't fall down, but I don't know. Like
okay, when people say don't do that, it's bad luck. Shouldn't there be like a thing attached, like what bad luck are you going to have? Okay, so it's sort of like the thing where people say don't give a man a pair, like
don't buy a pair of shoes.
A woman should not buy a man a pair of shoes, and that's bad luck because the man will walk out of your life. Do not buy a man a watch because that puts a time limit on your relationship. And I guess that's vice versa with women too. I guess I've only heard it from a woman should not buy a man.
Yeah, of course, because nobody wants men to buy shit for women. Nobody's ever going to say, don't do this for women because she'll go. No, I got to get that gift. So we're not going to make that rule. No rules work. You have a very valid point.
Oh my God.
No rules work against women.
And that alone is a stupid rule. What's good for the goose is good for the maverick. That's what I always say. Top Gun reference for those who don't know.
Is that because it's coming back?
No.
Oh.
I just always say that.
Ridiculous.
Goose, maverick.
I've never heard that ever in my life.
Because I made it up. I'm the only one who says that. See?
You're right.
And that's my phrase.
That's why you're the unicorn.
You can hashtag it. Give me some credit.
But
at ChatterBox CGC on all the social medias.
But again, you notice how there are no rules that somehow restrict the gifts, the proceeds that women can get.
I guess not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to rack my brain because I try to bring balance and equality into the conversation.
That's an uphill battle.
Kumbaya.
That's an uphill battle. But I mean, again,
we all get along.
What is you buying a watch for a man?
It sets a time limit on your relationship.
If it ain't gonna work, it ain't gonna work.
Okay, well here's one that's strictly for women.
And unless you Negro Damas, how do you know it's not gonna work?
Negro Damas.
just saying.
This applies to all races. DJ Mark Harris, Negro Damas.
When have you heard a white person at any of your jobs say, girl, you know, us white people say, don't buy a man a watch or don't buy a man shoes. Hell, they buying people boats,
This is true.
ping pong tables,
Yeah. Cars.
golf clubs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's one that's strictly for women.
Okay.
Don't put your purse on the floor.
Okay. You being an expert on that
Because
since
you're
you've been
not
a while.
because you won't ever have money. I don't understand how putting a purse on the floor makes you not have money.
Again, your ass ain't got no money before you put that purse down. Now, if somebody would have said, I don't want my purse to get dirty,
There you go.
I get it.
Right.
But don't put your purse on the floor because if you do, it will limit the money you get.
I guess you'll always be broke if you put your purse on the floor.
Not if you save some money, you won't. Stop balling those ATM receipts. You seen the people that go to the ATM? First of all, they stick the card in,
Mm-hmm.
and you know you got to do a couple things.
Mhm.
It says put your passcode in.
Yeah.
Pick if it's a deposit or
Mhm.
withdrawal,
Mm-hmm.
checking and savings. They the first three questions it asks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then it asks you if you have any money.
It does.
How much do you want?
Oh, how much do you want? It doesn't say if you have some money, how much do you
No,
want?
that's yeah, of course. Because if you don't have any
It's
money,
right. It's not. It's
gonna
gonna
push
say.
that damn
it's-
card back out.
I say, nah, boo.
Yeah.
You can't do this today.
And what I'm always amazed is how the people go to the ATM
And go.
and they
Wait
gotta
a
pull the
minute.
card out and they pushing all these buttons.
Like, I know I have money in here.
You knew before your ass got there and rolled down that window and lost that AC you had. You knew that you didn't have money. So why are you pulling it? You don't have that many accounts. Why are you pulling out one card, putting in another? And you know, I'm in
And
the
aren't
back.
they all connected to one card? Isn't that usually how that works? You don't have separate cards for your different accounts.
This is big money talk that I'm not familiar with, guys.
Oh, my
so
God.
You talking about multiple accounts and
Well, he's not old enough to have a bank account.
Exactly.
He's still on his mom's.
Yeah, he's still his mom's with that one
He
that
gets
has
allowance.
it doesn't have the names on the top, so you gotta write the name in. The starter checks.
Starter checks.
He got the starter check account. But you know, I'm,
He still gets allowance.
yeah, yeah.
Did you do all your chores today, Chris, before you came?
I did. I took care of all that before I left the crib.
Okay.
Took the trash out.
All that.
Okay.
Straighten my bed
And
up.
make sure when you come home, get off that school bus,
Mm-hmm.
you better bring that trash
Can around to the side of the
so
house.
your daddy get home. or
Right.
your
You'll
dad's
be
gonna
in trouble.
Can we get to the superstition? What does this have to do with superstition and rules and stuff?
Well, because I think we follow. I mean, these are just funny. These are just funny superstitions. I don't think people really follow them to the letter. But I'm also. But
Oh yes, they do.
that's true. That's true.
'Cause if
Like
I get
you
hit-
said,
if
your
I get
other.
if I get a verbal lashing for a hat being on the bed one more damn time.
Okay, but so like this is a serious thing. Does she? I mean, she says it's bad luck. But does she say like what
There's
is?
never any repercussion. There's never any description of what the bad
So
luck
bad
is.
luck is just bad luck.
Yeah.
And then so if some unlucky thing happens to you
Like
as
Harold Melvin, the Blue Note sang, bad luck is what you got.
is what you got.
Exactly.
Well, that's not necessarily true though.
What?
Like if you think about it, if you break a mirror, that's 7 years
7
bad
years of
luck.
bad luck.
So there's some specifics with that. If you step on the crack,
You break your mother's back.
so that
My
not all the cases.
mom's
It's a whole lot of
back
mamas that
has-
should be
but
attracted.
That should be like I alone should be jacked all the way up.
And when the hell did anybody say anything about a mirror?
Oh, you don't know about mirrors?
No.
Oh.
He said we know about the 7 years bad luck if you break a mirror.
And-
We had to talk about that.
And then opening the umbrella in the house is bad luck. I don't know why.
Again, dumbness.
Well, why would you open the umbrella in the house any damn way? But so like if you're doing a photo shoot in a building that has parasols, is everybody in that place just screwed for life?
Maybe some of these rules are just to keep people from doing dumb stuff. Like, why would you have an umbrella open indoors anyway, like you
Maybe.
said?
But the hat on the bed thing, how is that hurting anybody?
I've literally never heard that in my
Me
life
either.
until y'all
Me
just
either.
said this.
Me either.
Y'all might have just made that
Anything else that you get verbal
Lashings. for?
lashings for that make no damn sense?
How many days do we have to record the show?
Just give us the highlights. Give us the cliff notes.
I
of
don't
some
know.
fun ones.
It'll just that's on the
Well,
top of my list.
Well, we're just joking around with these superstitions, but there are actual like dumb rules that we've been conditioned from childhood to follow, and we follow them blindly because someone older than us and in control of our lives told us that this is the way life goes.
Yeah.
And someone told them before them, and it's just a very vicious game of dominoes,
Yeah.
that goes. And actually there's a book. I have a book here that's all about this. It's a really great book by a guy named Jason Kotecki, and it's kind of written like a children's book, and he's an artist too, so he illustrates it a lot. And it's called Penguins Can't Fly and 39 Other Rules That Don't Exist. And he talks about some of these dumb rules that we follow blindly that have no base. They all just come from that domino effect of someone told your great-great-grandparents, who told your great-great-grandparents, then your great-grandparents, then your grandparents, then your parents, and your parents told you. And now we're probably passing dumb crap on to our kids.
I try
too.
my best.
I try not to, because it's like I sort of I'm a little bit more conscious now, and I look back and go, why?
Yeah.
Is this a black culture thing, or is this across the board?
This is across the board, because this is a white man who wrote this book. So he has stuff in it like wearing white after Labor Day, which is my favorite thing. Like, why? What is the significance of not wearing white after Labor Day, and who says we can't?
I thought it came from something
Get up and see.
historic or traditional with.
There we go. Traditional.
Yeah. I mean.
Okay, so traditional. Whose tradition? And why do we have to follow it? And who's going to come get us if we don't?
Because when you say we, who are you talking about?
We as people. I'm not necessarily talking about a certain race or whatever. I'm talking about we the people.
Well, I think
we the people who don't wear white after Labor Day. That's what I'm talking about.
I think we as humans are comfortable following rules, because if we follow rules, that tends to put us in the general sector of everybody else. We as humans have a issue feeling being individuals. We don't want to be that person that's out there, that's standing on their own, that's doing something different, that's going against the trend, because I believe most of us don't have the self-confidence and the belief in ourselves to do that. I mean, I know I have always been a person who I've seen things from a different light than most people. I've never been one that's really been afraid to speak my mind,
right,
even though it wasn't my thoughts and my things I was saying weren't with the masses, because I always believed that what I thought was in a sense right. Or at least I had the ability to voice my opinion. I wanted to answer for it. And then growing up, I was never punished, or I was never controlled by my parents to say, do what I say, not as I do. You know, I was always, even when the few times I got in trouble.
Few times?
I only had one beating in my life.
Me too.
I only had one beating in my life.
That's awesome. How many beatings have you had, Chris?
None. I was a good kid.
I don't believe that at all.
Because remember, he said he doesn't lie, but we found out he lied like 5 times on last show.
Lied so bad.
Yeah. So I digress.
Right.
You know, most of us tend to not want to be that one that's out there by ourselves. So we would rather give in and conform.
Be a part of the Borg collective.
Yeah.
For all of my nerds out there.
Exactly. But then you're thinking what the other person has said. You're thinking that you're living it, but you're not strong enough to stand up, you know, and go straight
because you're constantly screaming inside, why am I doing this? Like that's my thing. You know, this is my fan. I might piss some people off with this, but
welcome.
Organized religion kind of does this to people. And you know, saying that it comes from the Bible and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of the things that I have been subjected to have nothing to do with the Bible, and it has to do with like how you dress to go to church and all that kind of stuff. And you know, what you should and shouldn't do. And I'm like, this is defeating the whole purpose of what I'm supposed to be here for.
Yes.
Why is this a thing? You know, the whole getting dressed up to go to church.
Because you got to show God.
Why?
that you have good clothes to honor him. Your Sunday best are supposed to show how much you're honoring God.
And really, no, because I don't think that is the entire purpose for going to church.
I agree with you.
I mean, but it's stuff like that that sort of puts you in these boxes, where you're like, this is, and I guess for me, I've always been like, why? And nobody can explain it to me, and it's just always been because.
I think it's going to be, it's always going to be a different answer based on your perspective. I will just say, from a cultural perspective, from a black perspective, we have always been a people who, when it came to things like that, I believe we are, as we're different, we're also followers.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, we are leaders in fashion, we are leaders in music, we're leaders in things like that. But when it came to
there's some following in that too.
Granted. But when it came down to doing things, whether it be religion or whether it be especially in corporate, we are followers because we do not want to be that one who takes a stand, because for so long we had nothing to stand on. So you got to kind of fit in and, be quiet, keep your nose clean, keep your nose down, and go to work. The problem I have with it is there are so many people who now still feel the same way.
Yeah.
I work with a guy, and he's real cool. One of my coworkers, he's actually Caucasian. He has that perspective.
Yeah.
He has that when you go to work, nobody wants to, unless they ask for it, they don't want your opinion. Keep your head down, be quiet, do your work. And I'm like, dude, there's so much more of the world out here.
Right.
And he's like, but if people want to hear it, that's why you've got Instagram. That's why you've got Facebook. But when you're on the job, you just need to do your job, be quiet. If they want your opinion, give it to them and give them your opinion about the job, nothing else. And look, I can't crap on my man because that's how he chooses to live his life.
Right. And
I just don't.
And that's also part of it, is that we, for us, when we wake up and unplug from the matrix and look around and go, this is some BS, we can't expect that everybody else is going to have.
Exactly.
Some people are very comfortable following the rules, the unspoken rules, the ones that really don't exist, that if you break them, nobody's going to come after you. But it's almost like they're scared to find out. I mean, like the rules of dressing up to go to church, or there was one I had in my head and I just lost it.
You know why that, in my opinion, that dressing up with a church rule got kind of lax, right?
Well, because people woke up and realized that was stupid.
No, because them pastors needed them dollars.
That's true.
If I'm gonna have football jersey Sunday and wear your favorite football jersey to
then
church,
people will come to church.
People come to church
because they know they ain't got to dress up.
And I can get them tithes. Them tithes and offerings on all 4 services. So yeah, you people change the rules as need be. I just saw something on the news last night that said that there are companies now, because they need so many workers, there are companies now who are starting to relax the testing for marijuana policy.
Oh.
They said they are starting to relax the requirement to test for marijuana unless your job has a DOT requirement, which says you can't be high on marijuana in your job. Right. But they say as long as you're not openly high on your job,
right,
or your job
don't ask, don't tell, shawty.
I'm not.
Hey, some people might be highly functioning when they're lifted.
Yeah. Baked. Shout out to Dave Chappelle.
There you go. But okay, so and you talking about corporate too. That's something I've actually had this discussion with several people that were once like me, where they either worked for themselves or had a job where they could work from home a lot, and then having to go what I call back into the workforce, like back to cube farm living and everything after being away from it for so long, and going back and going, ugh, this is maddening, because and I hope that we become a culture that realizes that sitting in an office for 8 hours when the work that you have to do probably might only take you 4.
Yeah.
What's the point? of keeping butts in seats in monkey suits for 8 hours when clearly they ain't got 8 hours worth of work because people are in the break room having a chat, all this kind of stuff. So, we have this stigma.
It's security.
Who's security though?
The people above you. Look, I work. I'm a project manager in construction.
Mm-hmm.
When we go to a job site, once we get the suitable amount of work done in the office, we get the site done, we can have a project trailer on site, and we move from the office to the project trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're there every day until we turn the project over. They don't have a way of knowing what's going on, but they're confident you're there. There's no reason why.
So it makes them feel comfortable.
It makes them feel comfortable
that they have employees sitting in. It justifies their overhead. Is that maybe what it is?
I don't even
justifies the budget.
I don't think that's the concept, because to me, and nobody's ever really told me why this won't work. Not that I've done a real survey on it.
Right.
But I don't understand why, if there are companies who can run businesses across oceans,
mm-hmm.
why is it that
mm-hmm.
I have to come into a cube?
That's my point.
And sit there for 8 hours for you to feel comfortable,
mm-hmm.
and you're just incurring costs. Again, I believe it goes back to, and construction is one of those industries where it's a good old boy, old school type of deal. So construction is never really going to progress to the point where, like how Chris's situation is, where he goes into work one day a week and works from home.
Right.
Construction's not going to do that, even though, yes, I have to be on site.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have to be on site, construction won't ever go to that situation, because it's an industry that's based on what I would consider overseeing. And if I can't walk down the hall
mm-hmm.
and know you're there for the most part, I'm uncomfortable.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But that's a unique industry. I mean, like, construction is one where, okay, you kind of need to know that the bodies are around. Being a doctor, kind of want to know that the bodies are around. Running a hospital, you want to know that your doctors are there, ready to treat people that show up. So,
I mean, true, but at the same time, does everybody need to be there all the time?
This is true. That and so that's where we kind of started off being funny with the superstitions and things, and then getting into more serious unspoken rules. But what's gotten into me lately is this concept of how being an adult has just, I think right now we're at a crossroads where those of us who have fully achieved adulthood, Chris is coming. He'll get there.
He'll get there. Keep pedaling.
Yep. Almost there, Chris.
Oh, well, you know what? You can't ride a bike.
Oh, right.
But I can swim.
That's going to help.
Can't leave that out.
When the floods come.
Subject for another time.
That's going to help when the floods come.
It's killing me about the bike thing. It really is. But we are starting to, like I said, kind of look around and go, why are we making this so hard? Why have we made life so hard, or being an adult so hard? It's like, once we decide we're an adult, once we cross that threshold and say, hey, I'm going to be a responsible adult now. So it's usually around, after 25, when we realize, we're approaching 30, the dreaded 30. That's another thing. Dreading those milestone ages. I have never been one to not say my age loud and proud. I make fun of being old. I make fun of all my gray hair, but I am not ashamed of my age. I have no, I have friends who will not tell people how old they are. Of course, they look youthful, and that's fine. So you don't want to. I like actually looking younger than what I really am. I mean, although some days I kind of look my age, but I definitely feel that shit.
Yeah.
My body says, "Oh, don't get it twisted."
That's from all that going hard and paint early on.
Yeah, buddy. Don't regret a bit.
Yeah,
because you're feeling that shit too.
Oh, I'm broke up.
You're feeling every bit of your age.
Yeah.
So, but we are made to believe that once we become this quote unquote responsible adult, all the fun just goes.
Well, it's because you have feelings and emotions, and you start worrying about what other people say. Little kids and old folks have it figured out.
Yeah.
They both are honest. for different reasons. Little kids are like, Mama, why that woman fat?
No filter.
Yes. And adult and old people are like, shit, I'm closer to death.
Yeah, so I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say.
It's true. Everybody in the middle who has feelings, who's worried about their insecurities,
whose egos have
dealt with
achieved
who they are,
full maturity,
who is worried about perception and walking around fronting and faking to the world because you want to be something, you want to be seen as something.
I think it also stems from wanting to make our parents proud. I think it stems from whatever our parents instilled in us. Either it's one extreme or the other. I think it's either they had such high hopes for you and they put you in all the best schools and everything, and you're supposed to be somebody. You're supposed to get some type of 6-figure job, and all you want to do is paint. Your parents are gonna be like, "The F you gonna be a painter?"
But true.
And then you have the other extreme where they say, "Oh, you ain't nothing. You ain't never gonna be nothing. Blah 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 blah. You're just worthless. I wish I never had you." Blah.
That's the Eddie Kane syndrome.
Yeah. So then you go full tilt in either direction. You go full tilt being a high achiever and follow the most ridiculous rules to because you're trying to be what your parents set you up and paid for you to be. And then the other extreme is like, I'm going to prove everybody wrong, and usually go down some other ridiculous road of probably not following any rules.
I think there's a huge chunk in there that are worried about perception of
everybody else.
That's
why there's Instagram.
They're worried about perception of the world, their friends, how they look, an image. And you're walking around being fake every day to where you're worried about making things perfect. You got insecurities because you haven't dealt with the honest part of who you are.
Kind of segues into our other show about intellectual honesty, doesn't it, a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're not honest with yourself. You're not comfortable with yourself. You're worried about how you're seen. You need a whole bunch of cheerleading or pats on the back.
You need to know that it's okay. I mean, I've been through this myself,
and I'm learning to deal with that in a better way because I've been a black and white person all my life. And the one frustrating thing that I've dealt with in my life is in being black and white. I guess the universe has always challenged me with gray people.
Yeah.
One of my main frustrations in life was that gray people always wanted the black and white people, such as me, to be softer, to be gentler.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to happen with you.
To think about what you say before you say it.
I would have to warn people
about crushing somebody's feelings or hurting somebody. But all those people with a lot of nerve endings, those feelings and emotions, those great people, it's funny how they never get tougher. They want the black and white people to come to them.
Side, they don't want to.
But they never seem to want to say, you know what, I know my audience. As a black and white person, you're supposed to know your audience. You're supposed to modify what you say to your audience.
Right.
But why is it the gray people who have all the feelings and all the emotions and all the insecurities? Hold on. Why don't they ever say, I know my audience likewise.
Right.
I'm not going to take it so personal.
Right.
And I'm going to be tougher.
Well, and that's what it is. It comes down to taking it personal. I'll just take our friendship, point blank. And I've told you this many times because you know me, I'm super sensitive. I am like, yeah. I mean, I've grown out of it. I've developed a little bit. I've evolved. But back in the day, back in college, super sensitive. And that just came from being extremely naive and a sheltered person coming into this college world like, what?
Yes.
And not really knowing a lot, getting taken advantage of ridiculously, but being very, very, I mean, I'm still a crier. I've gotten better, but very sappy. You can be, I won't say are, because you've changed too. You've gotten to be a little bit of a teddy bear in your old age.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But you can be abrasive. And I have told you this before, like if I didn't know you like I know you, you would hurt my feelings on a regular basis. You would just crush me on a regular basis. But again, I know my audience. It's like, I know you are very blunt. You are to the point. You say what's on your mind. You have recently developed a filter, but you haven't always had one. it's hilarious. I actually dig that about you.
But the filter.
But the not having the filter.
Oh.
No, you not having a filter is great.
Oh, okay.
Because you're hilarious. But for some people, for you, you're a DJ. He's a DJ. He's a very good DJ. He's the awesomest DJ.
Thank you.
When people have said, "Hey, I need a DJ," I always recommend you.
Yeah.
You're first on my list. But I have to actually prep people to talk to you first. Like
That's
couple of wedding people that I've sent to you over
Okay.
the years, where I'm like, okay, and Shamika, I was like, okay, he's brilliant. He's a wonderful DJ. You're gonna love it. Now I'm just gonna tell you, when you talk to him, just know that he's a little sharp.
I don't even know what that means. What's that mean, Chris?
You're a little sharp.
I was just about to ask.
You're a little sharp. You're kind of
Straight to the
abrasive.
point.
He's crotchety, and he's a get off my grass man. That's what I mean.
Now we'll own that. I am get off.
He
the
is the
grass
get
man.
off my grass man. And okay, so case in point, Chris, I'll tell you like this. So this is like what Will Mark would say. He'd be like, people say, okay, well, I have I have a song that I'm thinking about for my first dance, with my new husband or whatever. He's like, okay. He's just, well, what do you think I should have as my first song? Damn it, I don't know you.
I mean,
It's a little crotchety.
okay, but
I mean, he wouldn't say it like that, but he'd be like, how the hell am I supposed to know what you want for your first dance? I wasn't there for your whole damn relationship.
I mean,
So I have to tell people this going in, and I've had people come back and be like, thank you for warning me, because if you didn't give me that warning, I would be like, hell no. And I keep trying. It's like, he doesn't mean it. It's like, it's not that he's mean. He's not. This is like, he just.
It's like people from New York.
Oh.
Not like that?
Oh,
But they don't know, though.
Come on.
That's not true.
I'm saying
That's the
as a comparison. They
That's
don't
the
know that
typical-
they're.
That's the typical Southern bad.
Right.
That's a fact, though.
Right.
People
It is not.
No, hold on. People from New York know that when they move and they live down south, they go, "Hey man, you know what? We tripping up on the East Coast. Like we take
Who
things
says
away.
that?
I know several people from New York
Man,
that have
I
moved
need
to the
some
south
New York people
that
here
have
to
been like-
defend themselves.
that have been like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, we do be tripping sometimes. My family's from New York. I was born in New York. I know personally.
But I would say, and before somebody gets it wrong,
Right.
I'm not from the North, even though I learned when I moved
You're from the North-ish.
No, look, hold on.
The
Stop,
East Coast.
Stop,
I
stop,
don't
stop,
claim the South.
Stop.
Not at all.
Let's have.
Don't give a crap
have-
about the Mason-Dixon line.
Let's have a factual
I am a
geographic lesson. I'm from Virginia. Virginia was in the South. How do I know that? Because they fought for the right to have slaves. When I moved to Georgia was the first place that I was told that I was from the North. I'm like,
You are.
no, anything north of Georgia does not count as the North.
Yes,
No, there were
they count Virginia and the DMV.
but not all of Virginia. Just certain
Well,
parts.
that's true. Certain parts.
all I'm saying.
Just like
is,
all
look,
of Maryland ain't in the DMV.
Look. When
My Maryland is in the
when
DMV.
before the
Damn
Civil War, Virginia fought for slaves. So that's the line of demarcation. Okay, now, since I've been down here, I've heard more people from Georgia state about how anybody from the North was a Yankee and was against Georgia. And Georgia, I know how the people from New York are,
I'm not-
but Georgia has some of the most tainted, feeling-based individuals.
they still haven't
I've
figured
seen.
out that they lost.
Of course, they're never gonna lose. It's just a delay.
It's a delay.
But I'm saying that the people down here literally are offended, have been offended
Mm-hmm.
by anybody out. I think South Carolina to them is where the South starts,
Yeah, I would agree.
and that's
So where does that leave North Carolina?
that's my point. They put North Carolina. They act like North Carolina is not on the map, or like
It's
North Carolina,
there.
Virginia are the state, or one
Are they
state,
together?
and they're in the North. They're not.
No, nobody says that about
History.
North Carolina.
Nobody cares about North Carolina.
North
It's
Carolina's in
basketball
the
season.
South. They don't care about basketball.
Yeah, it's Tar
That's
Heels.
funny.
But
Well, and Duke,
yeah, most
and
people,
Duke,
yeah.
and Duke.
But
North Carolina State.
no, I mean it's down here. There's a what is the word I'm looking for? They have a feeling of being uncomfortable, being insecure. I think a lot of times. Maybe it was because you saw Dukes of Hazzard. Maybe it's because he did a night.
Wait, you're nodding.
I have a challenger, so I know about Dukes of Hazzard.
The original one or the remake?
I definitely don't have the original one, but
no.
I know
I said,
about
do you
it.
know about the original
Oh,
one?
Dukes of Hazzard? Yeah, of course.
Don't say of course,
Just
like
a good
like
old
you know.
boy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm on that.
Uh-oh.
Y'all like that?
No. Yeah, exactly.
No. Right.
Yeah, got you.
I'm on that.
How did they get in the car, Chris?
They jumped through the window.
Slightly, almost correct.
On the hood?
There you go.
There you go.
In the heat of the night
Right.
was down here.
Yeah.
Matlock was supposed to be in Georgia.
Oh. Yeah. That makes sense.
And I think that I can only assume
Boy, that gives you a really bad perception.
which
of
is
the
why I think they're
South.
tight. Which is why I think they're tight.
That could be it.
Dukes of Hazzard, Matlock, in the heat of the night. What else?
I don't know. We've totally derailed this conversation though. I
That's
don't know,
what
but
we
you're
do.
right. But you're right. You're right. Okay, so back on rules. Do you
Yeah, back on rules. I thought of something.
Okay.
You remember how we said the rules never seem to go against women?
Yeah.
What happened to that rule of if I'm in the club,
Uh-oh.
I'm not buying your ass a drink if I don't know you?
Oh, there's a rule?
Yeah, my rule.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
You're responsible for your own rules.
because I have when I had hair.
Mm-hmm. Boy, I don't even remember that.
Don't act like that.
I mean, I really don't. Because you always wore a hat.
Anyway, when I had hair, I went to a barber down here, and she's still my barber. She just shaves me, doesn't cut my hair. She would tell me that when she would go out with her girlfriends in clubs,
Mhm.
if a dude wanted to talk to her,
Mhm.
he would have to buy not only her a
But
drink,
all her friends.
but all her friends.
Mm,
And
I don't subscribe to that rule
I can
personally.
proudly say that in all my days of going out legally and illegally,
Mm-hmm.
I have never bought a drink for a woman I didn't know. Never.
Like, never struck up a conversation with the chick and said, hey, let me buy you a drink?
Yes, I've never done that.
What? Like, never.
But see, that's
Never
just,
ever.
That goes
I mean,
back.
and not as a rule. Just
Never. That was a rule.
wow.
That was a rule. Because a drink shouldn't be a permission slip to talk to your ass.
No. I'm not looking at it like that. I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
Like some guys already tee up that they're gonna buy this chick a drink.
Yeah. And if I buy you a $8, $9, $10 drink, the reason why guys follow you around the club is because I'm gonna talk to your ass.
All night
That drink is an
long.
investment.
Okay, so there's where the rules are different because and this is where choice comes into it, and it's not a rule. I mean, we treat it like, okay, if I buy your ass a drink, whatever the cost is, I own you for the rest of the night.
No, at least till that drink is gone.
No, some fools act like they owe you that.
I mean,
like I bought
like
you a
it-
drink, so
You
Clink
mine
up,
for the
clink
night. Yeah,
up.
No, you're right.
you done. Don't be looking at no other Negro
No,
in
no,
this
no,
club.
you're exactly right.
You're mine. So
Or Caucasian.
yes, this applies to everybody. This is a universal thing. This is not just a black thing.
I don't know.
No, it is. I mean,
may be universal.
no. It is universal. I've been in mixed company, and it's
Okay.
universal. But and so
So you saying white dudes lock you down, they buy you a drink for the rest of the night too?
yeah.
I don't deal with white dudes. Like that, so I
However,
don't know.
they're a little bit more lax on it than black guys, though. I will say that because they might buy a whole bunch of girls drinks.
Again, I'm not buying one.
But
I sure ain't buying.
one of them chicks that they bought a drink for is going home with them. That's pretty much how they
Ain't
run
nothing
it.
wrong with
like,
that.
Like
Playing the numbers.
Yeah.
exactly. It's like I got $50, 5 drinks. One of them is going home with me,
But here's the difference.
or at least to the bathroom.
Here's the difference. But here's the difference.
Hmm.
I believe that another group,
Mhm.
him, would have more success than that. My experience has been
Mm.
if you buying a drink for a chick and 6 of her friends,
Mhm.
your ass is out. You ain't getting no haps with nothing.
Because really, they just pimped you for
They
drinks.
just pimp you for drinks.
Now, okay,
the
so
white dude may have success. I'm sorry. Others may have success.
Others. Let's not.
You're not getting that way with sisters. That's been my find.
Mm,
You ain't just,
it depends.
again, I'm not saying
You're honestly, you got to come with something. It's like your
I
game
came with my $10 Long Island iced tea.
no, that isn't enough. I'm speaking personally. That isn't a. You bought me a drink, so I need to be interested in you. No.
No.
It's an icebreaker. That's basically what
Right.
that is.
So
What
use
serves
it.
as.
So use it as an icebreaker,
Yeah, it's an
not as an
icebreaker.
obligation.
I
I'm fine
agree.
with it being an icebreaker.
An icebreaker was a smile across the room in conversation. You got to talk be able to earn that drink. And with me, your ass knew you were coming out
Well,
the
how
house. You
about-
need to have your own credit card.
Well, how about me and my sister-in need to do better in that case?
You're
Because
right.
well, I don't. I mean, me personally, I'm not sitting up there just going like, who's gonna buy me a drink?
Oh, I know.
Who's
Not to
gonna
say
buy
that
me a
everyone
drink?
who's gotten a drink bought for them sat at the bar waiting on somebody to buy them a drink.
Right.
It's just.
And
if
there
that-
have been plenty of times that I have gone to bars, to parties, and bought my own drinks. Like nobody, I've been talked to, and not nary a drink was purchased for me.
And that's good. That's the way it should be.
And I have no problem with that. I don't leave the night be like, damn, ain't nobody talk to me, and I ain't getting no drink.
It's just looked at if they haven't had a chance to look across the room and smile and nod and wink, and if none of that has happened, the other icebreaker is, hey, tell the waitress, what is she drinking?
But you don't
send her
talk
a
to people
drink.
in bars though.
You don't talk to
I'm
humans.
washed. I've been married for 5 years. Together with my wife for 9. I'm completely washed
I
up.
love these
That's
disclaimers.
the sunken place.
They
I'm in the dating sunken place for
That's the
sure.
sunken place. You're in the talking sunken place. You can't talk.
Possibly so.
Like
But that's-
Kentucky Derby.
That goes back to you guys saying about rules and stuff. Like that's looked
Yeah.
at as etiquette. That's polite etiquette to get
Man,
a drink.
Yeah, but
I-
etiquette.
That's traditional.
Okay, see, and that's why I can't stand that crap. Because my thing is like, number one, whose tradition is it?
The
And
woman's
why?
'cause she getting a drink.
No.
Human.
Hirsch.
Human tradition.
By who says who? And if you don't do it,
You're not being traditional. That's all.
and
There's nothing wrong with that.
apparently it is because people get very bent.
Do you put your salad fork on the right and do you do that?
How about I just eat one damn fork? I don't need to be discriminating with
'Cause
forks.
when you have one fork, you ain't got to make no damn decision which
Exactly.
fork you use
There
first.
you go.
Do I work outward, inward, outward? Man, give me one
Give
fork.
me one fork,
I
and then I
will-
don't have to make a
When I go
decision.
from my salad to my entree, I'll just lick.
And then the
I'll
whole thing.
I'll lick the honey mustard dressing off, and then I'll be good.
Wait, what about the plates and the water glasses? And people are like, you took my glass. I took the one that was in freaking front of me.
I took the one.
Is it fair that is of cultures that maybe we haven't grown up in that culture? Those are like high-end restaurants that you go to. You're not going to Wendy's and it's set up like that.
Who
But-
cares?
But they teach you those classes when you're coming up.
For what though?
So when you get there, but hey, look,
So when you get there,
but
like
at the end of the day, we didn't create none of that.
Right, and that's my point. It's like, why are you going to get mad at me because I took the water on the right-hand side by my dominant hand, and that's what I'm going to go after, and then this person to my right goes, you took my water. Damn it, take hers.
it's certain cultures. Like if you went to another country and did something different and they were like, "Yo, that's not how we get down," you would be like, "Oh, my bad." Like you would.
True.
That's what I'm saying. So
True.
you wouldn't just be like, "Oh, so."
No, I mean, well, culturally speaking, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I guess that's sort of a culture thing,
This
too.
ain't got nothing to do with. They ain't got nothing to do with this jacked up stuff here in America.
No, it doesn't. I'm talking about jacked
Some
up stuff
of it.
here in America.
Like the eating and that may have. I don't know the history behind it, but it probably came from some culture that ain't got nothing to do with us.
Right.
But I'm just saying it probably came from somewhere.
Again,
But even
I'm
with
not
these
buying you a
traditions,
drink
even
if I don't
culture,
know you.
look, even cultural traditions, they're people. What I don't like about it, I understand if you want to follow your traditions and things like that and you want to honor them, but it's when you sort of put them, imposing them on other people, imposing them even on your children, where you don't even have the reason why you're doing it, but it's like because you're supposed to.
That's because we're sheep.
Why? I want to know
That
why.
We're
sound like
sheep.
black people.
And that's how I am with these, and why I love this book by what's his face? What his name is? Jason Kentucky. I did say what his name is, on purpose.
What's
Big
your
ups to
name,
Atlanta
Neil?
people. But I love that because it actually gets you to stop and look at some of the dumb stuff that you do, like your kid,
on the bed.
your hat on the bed. Your kid goes to get a cupcake and you haven't had dinner yet. You haven't had your dinner. You can't have. It's all going down the same damn way.
It all goes back to when you grew up and you've been conditioned to stand in line in a straight line in school.
Mhm.
You've been conditioned to do things that adults tell you to do, and
Yes.
you grow up that way knowing that. So anything that an adult or somebody you respect tells you something, you take it as gospel, and you question it maybe 10, 20 years down the road.
Or not, because
maybe.
kids ask why all the damn time.
That's true.
And then, now I get it. It's like before when kids asked why, it was like, stop being annoying. But now I'm asking why myself. It's like I'm still doing a lot of stuff that just makes no damn sense, and it's making adulting not so fun.
Because now you're getting old.
Because now I'm getting old.
You get to the point where you like,
and my level of F's to give is going.
Yeah.
So I says who? Says
Break the cycle.
Who exactly? And I actually want to break it for my kids sooner than later. Right. Of doing dumb stuff. So leave your hat on the bed.
Man, I'm trying to hear that verbal lashing again.
Wear white after Labor Day, all the white.
I thought I had to wear
Walk
white.
out. I don't either, because chocolate and wine and red sauce will hunt me down.
Unless I'm at a beach or I'm on a golf course, I don't need to wear white. Not me.
Neither. Makes me look really large.
Or you at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah. Well, we got the outro music from
Chris is playing us off like
Chris
Sandman.
Get out of here.
He's got the hook out like Sandman.
So I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the B-Side. We'll see you again soon.
Follow us on Instagram. We have our own Instagram now.
Yes, we do.
The B-Side at theBside.tv, and these episodes are on our YouTube channel of the same name.
Shout out to BMG Studios. Shout out to Teach One Media. My man Chris. ChatterBox Christie. Thanks for tuning in. We're out. Peace.
I was the activist that stood up and demanded his rights. And when others said keep it peaceful, I was ready to fight. I was screaming in the bullhorn when they marched for justice. I was willing to sacrifice and ready to die struggling. I was the dreamer and knew